Excuse me. Today I watched Gladiator with Russell Crowe. That's a good movie, I have to say. Very good. I got interested mostly because I saw a video on YouTube. He was talking about well, he runs a channel where he speaks about timeless ideas and philosophies behind great movies. That's pretty much the part that defines movies to be classics. And Gladiator is supposedly one of them. And I can see why. Because there's the main character's growth is based on the philosophy of Stoicism. Stoicism is like a pretty unique set of philosophy, simply because there's no way escaping it. It's essentially about recognizing what reality is and having the discipline to worry only about what you can control. I'd say it's like the basic summary of what Stoicism is. Like the idea that you can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you react to it. It's like one of the more basic ideas. And to have more of a realistic perspective of things, such as the idea of memento mori. It's a phrase that would be repeated to yourself. Remember that I am mortal. Remember that I am mortal. It's that to say that there's no guarantee of tomorrow. There's no guarantee of the next moment. Death can come at any time. Let that guide your actions. Let that guide your behavior. And it could be taken as sort of like a depressive view on life. But in Stoicism, it's argued that it's death that gives life any meaning at all. So if you were to live forever, then what is the point of getting something done? The point of any kind of goal is that there is a timeline. Otherwise, it just remains a dream. Purpose in anything is found when there is the risk of not being able to fulfill it at all. So, in that sense, for anyone who is particularly interested in being a high achiever, Stoicism tends to be a very practical methodology for that. That's why it's, especially nowadays, that people are finding it hard to have a specific purpose for how to lead their lives. There's a lot of mental illness nowadays that's particularly depression, that's caused by aimlessness, really. It's either a loss of identity or a feeling of powerlessness. And it's made even stronger by this pandemic that we have. So, again, Stoicism is like one of those classic philosophies that becomes especially relevant in times of struggle. When we're happy, we don't care what happens. We just live. But when we're tested, that's when we try to find meaning in what happens to us. And in Stoicism, it says that it's not really that there is meaning in anything. It's simply that you give it meaning. Whatever happens to you, you can make something of it or nothing at all. Whatever you choose defines what kind of person you become. So, it's a philosophy that empowers your choice even more. And in the context of Gladiator, context of Gladiator is this war general for the Roman army. He had finished one of his war campaigns and had requested the emperor to retire back to his home in I don't know where. The emperor granted to it, but he died before he could make it official, and his son took over power and pretty much had this general killed because the general had way too much influence over the army. Everyone respected him. So tried to have him killed. That didn't work. He escaped. Blah, 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 blah. His family was killed by the emperor. And yeah, the general, I don't remember what exactly happened. I think he was captured by slave traders. Yeah, that's what it was. And was sold into the whole gladiator world. And came back to Rome and pretty much started a revolution that way because his influence over the army and, well, people in general, after he won over the crowd of the Colosseum, started a cultural rebellion against the emperor. And during the whole movie, the general had self-growth, where he came from a place where, as a general, he was loyal to the emperor, and the perspective he had on his own life is that he served someone else. He served the emperor, the idea of Rome. So in war, he would understand that as for the glory of Rome. But when that glory was, what's the word? When that glory was corrupted, he realized that his place in that no longer existed, if it was there at all, because his presence was what really made Rome Rome. He grew from the idea that he was a product of an idea, that he was a general because Rome was Rome. He moved from that to the idea that Rome is Rome because he is a general. Moving from the idea that we are who we are because of what we've been through. We are the product of our environment, which is true to a certain extent. But our ability to choose our actions is what dictates our place in this environment. What we choose dictates how we happen in the situation that we're in, which is essentially, again, the essence of Stoicism. It's the recognition of reality and empowerment of choice. I think the main theme for the movie is that phrase they used, "Now we're free." It's metaphorical in its sense, because for him that was quite literally, from a slave he became the most powerful man in Rome, simply by choosing to act differently. You'd have to see the movie to know what I'm talking about, but yeah, slavery is the idea that someone can take your freedom away from you. But in Stoicism, it's said that that is not possible. You can be chained, but your will can never be taken from you. We all act within a context. Other people can control that context, but we can control our place in that context. It was a good movie. I think you should see it. And yeah, I mean, Stoicism, I actually have a book on it. Enchiridion, I think is how you pronounce it. Enchiridion, and discourses from Epictetus. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right even. But yeah, that kind of gives out the basic outline of the whole philosophy. I would say more methodology of Stoicism, because the philosophy of Stoicism is it's strange, because philosophy, you could say that it's the underlying assumption that we make about a reality, while the methodology from a philosophy is how we should act so that we be benefited the most. But in Stoicism, that's why I'd say it's pretty special, because since it's rooted in taking things as they are, then there isn't really a philosophy behind it. It's more practical in that sense. In different kinds of philosophy, especially when you go into political philosophy, you go about different ideas of how people should be managed. It's have different political philosophies have different assumptions about what people of how people can be best managed for their own success. And since there is multiple ways of how people attain success, then that is the main reason why there are so many political philosophies, and they all claim to be better than the other one, or at least just as valid. Argument always tends to happen there, but when you base a methodology on taking things how they are, that becomes much more adaptable. Say, for example, between different political philosophies, there is quite a bit of difference in idea of how people can succeed, while Stoicism would be able to fit in every single one of those political philosophies, because it's more of the philosophy is of, or I'm going back on my words here, Stoicism is the study of attitude, I'd say. Yeah, pretty much. Go one way in one kind of politics. Your attitude is what's responsible for bringing you to success within that political context, or in a different political context. Your attitude is what defines how you get to success within that political context. Stoicism doesn't have to do with so much of an idea, but more of an attitude, of a behavior. So I don't really like to call Stoicism a philosophy so much as a practical methodology. It doesn't matter. Actually, I don't even like the name Stoicism. Like, what does it even mean? People do not understand. It's an antiquated word. But, yeah. I think it's better not to have any specific labels for methods that work for everyone. Because when you do that, that gives opportunity for people to disagree. It's like saying it's like having a difference of opinion on what kind of phone is better, Samsung or iPhone. Then you ask in what context. Say, what are they better for? This is a fair question, but that is more akin to philosophy, while a practical methodology is simply something that is completely universal that no one can deny, such as the idea that we all have to take a shit. We all have to. No one can do it for us, and at some point we have to do it. So in that sense, it's kind of silly to put those bathroom necessities on the same level as the superiority or inferiority of one phone from the other. It just doesn't make sense. So for anything that is a universal truth, it's better not to put any kind of label that is capable of being disagreed. Like even now, most people disagree on what Stoicism is. There's the philosophers who actually understand the definition of the word, while in common language, so being a Stoic means like having no emotions. That's that's not true, and it's kind of unfair to the whole practice. So yeah, when you give names to something that is universally useful, names tend to corrupt the method, tend to corrupt its effectiveness, and people don't get to enjoy the benefit of something that works just because of that preconception, false preconception. No names. Don't give different names for stuff that is useful for everyone. It's not good in the long run. Anyways, I mean, that's what it all means. It's not much of an insight how to best apply it. I mean, okay, you could take again the principle of that environment can affect you, but you choose how it affects you. Say in the context of marketing, because I'm that kind of guy. In marketing, let's see here. Fans and haters. There you go. Say even here on a YouTube channel like this, you get different kinds of comments where people say, "Oh, I love this," and other people say, "This is dumb." Other people who simply laugh, is like, "Bro, what are you even talking about?" You get different kinds of things, and most of the stuff is not really useful. Doesn't matter how positive or negative. Most of the time, it's not useful, but when people start to say specific things about it, about whatever it is that you post, that's when it becomes more useful. Positive comment is okay. It's like saying, "Oh, I like this part about your video," and you can make that useful by giving out more content like that specific part. But I'd say probably the most useful are the specific negative comments. It's like saying, "Oh, Chandra, you should. Your videos are too boring. You should make edits so and the camera doesn't see you thinking, so that people don't get bored." That's actually pretty useful. And I'm not going to do that for this channel, because that's not the point of you having fun. The point of this channel is to be a resource for my credibility. I claim to be improving every single day, and I can show you the end result, or I can show you the process in of itself. But if I edit any part of the process, if I don't show any part of it, it becomes a lot less credible. Because then people who watch it are starting to believe that that I'm leaving something out, and that if they were to try it and they didn't get to the same place that I got to, then they start to blame me for not showing the entire thing, what it really takes. It's dumb, but that is why I do not edit videos on this channel specifically, or I should say this playlist. But yes, in any other kind of playlist, that is actually very good feedback to follow. So yeah, I guess it's choosing the kind of mindset you want for whatever it is that you get. You get a hateful comment, you can see that as a failure, or you can see that as feedback. When you see failure as feedback, then you're able to win. You're able to succeed. If you see failure as just failure, then you don't go anywhere. So I'd say that's what Stoicism would look like in a marketing concept. Stoicism in just about anything else is really, I don't know, it's tough to give examples on something else for me, because again, marketing is not a philosophy of how things should be done to get people to do what you want to do, but marketing is using human psychology to better portray yourself in the way that others would want to understand you, in a way that others would want to do business with you. So there is no one right way of doing it. There is no wrong way of doing it even. There is simply what works for you and what doesn't. And again, just like how Stoicism is seen in almost every kind of philosophy, same way marketing is seen in pretty much any kind of interaction that we have with another person. Be that on a phone call, on a text message, on an email, on just one normal one-on-one conversation, or when you're speaking to a group of people or a large audience. There is no difference in the context of marketing, because what you're trying to get at is being able to convey what it is that you have in such a way that people can be compelled to do something with it. That's what marketing really means in any context, really. So the same way how Stoicism exists in any kind of philosophy, marketing exists in any kind of interaction that we have in people. The better that you understand the basic principles, the better everything else that you do becomes. Marketing, the better that you understand marketing, the better your ability to communicate with other people and to succeed in any endeavor you become. It's kind of why wide scope, but I'd say marketing is something that everybody should have knowledge of, the basic knowledge of how it works. Everyone should know how to succeed. That's not taught in pretty much any education system nowadays. You're taught to be a worker rather than how could I describe it? A creator. Workers are people who can gain a specific skill set and be able to repeat it over and over again. The better the worker, the more perfect the craft is. But since the fact that it is repetitive, it can be automated in one way or another, if not completely. And we're moving, the more we advance with technology, the riskier it becomes staying as a worker. So it's better to become a creator instead. Creator is someone who has the ability to create more money or create more time for other people. And that is a lot more valuable because it's a direct influence on how people better run their businesses or better run their daily lives. It's like saying a worker can do the work while a creator creates results. The results that you need require some sort of work, but the need for that work to be done by a person is becoming less and less every day, the more as automation advances. So the next step for people to gain financial confidence is to become a creator. And that's where marketing becomes even more relevant. Not to say marketing as a job, but simply to understand the principles of how it is to best promote is not the word. I just said it a while ago. What was it? How to best convey yourself in a way that people would want to gain the value from you. It is actually pretty simple. I will talk more about it on some other video, but this one's running a bit too long. But yeah, Stoicism and marketing are practical things that are found in just about anything. So remember, whatever happens to you, you choose how to react to it. Do not forget.